Hey, thanks for checking out my video. I wanted to talk briefly about governance and the current forms of governance and what I think their current drawbacks are, and potentially discuss some of the future governance options that may lead us to having better governance within the decentralized Web3 DAO type space. So we'll start with linear voting. So with linear voting, for every token you have a vote. So people who are more heavily invested than others will have more of a say. And this, in my opinion, can be a runaway train. And you're also almost wealth gating people who may be better decision makers out from having as much of a say as someone who just has the capacity to have more tokens. Now, do people with more tokens have more entitlement to voting? I mean, you can make that argument. I'll let you decide. But are they going to be the best decision makers? And also, are they going to have the best, intentions in mind? They'll be able to control a large portion of the vote potentially, and they may have been corrupted or have ulterior motives for the direction of the organization, which, if you're heavily invested, you typically want things to go well, but it's not quite enough of an incentive, in my opinion. So to curb the runaway train of linear voting, there's quadratic voting, where for those who don't know, if you have one token, you can vote one time. If you have 4 tokens, you can vote twice. If you have 9, you can vote 3 times. So on and so forth. If you have 10 tokens, you can vote 100. If you have 100 tokens, you can vote 10 times. It's exponential. And that curbs the runaway train. But you're still in the same position where people that are more heavily invested have more decision power, which, again, can be corrupted. And at this point, to curb any type of cheating, like let's say I made 2 wallets. Now I can vote twice as much as if I just had one. And that means you have to verify the uniqueness of your users in your user base. Now I think ultimately you're going to have to verify uniqueness of users within any real governance that's going to work ultimately. But it still doesn't solve other issues. And then you have things like one person, one vote, where each person who's invested in the DAO, or each member of the DAO, has an equal vote as everybody else, and nobody gets carried away. But you're still not cropping up the best decision makers to the top. I mean, ultimately, the idea to make a DAO successful with whatever their endeavor is, you want the best decision makers to rise to the top. So the question I have is, in the next 5 to 10 years, where do we see governance going? Are we going to be looking at a reputation-based governance where somehow you measure the metrics of the quality of the decisions the members are making and they get reputation points where they can make more votes? Or maybe something else that I'm not seeing? And how do you even accomplish that? Anyway, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. Let me know, and I hope you have a great weekend.